magbago. Dahil sa ito ay kinakailangan tayo na magtulong-tulong. Napaunlarin ang mahal nating bayan.
Good morning everyone, good afternoon, or if you watch this video in the evening, good evening everyone. According to the instruction, using any platform on social media, especially in YouTube, that you can browse your newsfeed and examine the talk about the relevant issues that people posting about it. It can be economic, political, and social. So let's down at least 3 topics and provide a brief background as long as it's statements is quality and clarity and relevant today. So I choose among of the politics, fake news, and the political rally. I chose politics is because it has a negative, and both of that it has a positive impact in our globalization nowadays. So let's start. So according to your list, or among your list, choose one issue do you think is particular, or the problem issue is affected in globalization and the country's relations towards in the states, and how. So in this political, it can really affect in the globalization, especially in decision making. It's because the government is not focusing on their jobs, because this current year is the year of the national and local elections of both the lower chamber and the higher chamber, especially in the Senate and the congressional district. So they cannot perform their duties properly, especially if we talk about the process of the jurisdiction and the Vice President Sara Duterte. It has a lenient actions from the Senate. It's because they are more focused on the jurisdiction about the other, or they're doing the things that is not unconstitutional, or we can call it unconstitutional or labag sa batas. So it can really affect our economic growth, because they cannot focus, they cannot make any decisions, as we see, or as what we call this one, as we as witness in our society and community nowadays. There are so many challenges that we are faces right now, and I think it is quite correct that the introduction of the, especially our country nowadays, is a democratic country, the country that following a rule of the government from the legislative, executive, and the judiciary department. So in the attention of that, the human rights also protects the vital rule in our society, as we can continue to deliberate its social and communitary goods to the people who need it. So if there's no other, so let's proceed to the question 2. In what ways can our country exercise and maintaining sovereignty in governance and all policy making and resolving global issues is on or in a local context? So being a democratic country, not a federalistic country, so we can engage in regional forums like ASEAN, or the Asian nation of the Southeast Asia. So we can engage any forum so that we can foster the transparency and the accountability of our public officials, so that there are many doors open in our society, because nowadays the price inflations of goods and the products, especially in services, is increasingly, and the salary is become less, or what they call this one, naog siya, or become less ang salary. That is why many Filipino in the Philippines have difficult, and they are choose to migrate to in the another country in order for them to sustain their daily needs, so that we can maintain our sovereignty, we can maintain our power, or sovereignty means power or kapangyarihan. So the governance, we must improve our policy making. We are not focusing, or the government will not focus on the politics, because the politics is only once in a year, or once in the 6 years or 3 years terms in elections. But our decision making is really essential in our society nowadays, especially nowadays in this current situation. It's because the country is belong to the most corrupt country in the world, and the most poorest country in the world according to the Okta research, and also it is proved by the Oxford University and International Relations in Global Change. So in this continuation, so we must engage a regional forums, especially in Asian South, because the Philippines is member of the ASEAN, or the Association of Southeast Asian Nation. So let's proceed to the number 3. So the number 3 question is that, in your own opinion, will geographical boundaries of states will be relevant in the future? So my answer is that yes, because, or let me explain something. So it is really relevant, or it is really important, the geographical boundaries, but we must put it on the right time. So if we hire our geographical boundaries, we cannot trade to another countries, we cannot give any relationships towards to another countries, which it seems like we are putting a bridge towards another country, like we are putting a bridge that we can connect to another country. Example, this is the America, so that we can connect them. We must not higher our standards, because it can also give a negative effect in our community, society, especially in economic growth as we are facing right now. So by distribution of the power for the both the higher and the lower chamber of the Philippine government, we must be improve our national identity, so that the Philippines will recognize by our products, by our nationality, and most of all, we are recognized by our ethnicity. And we're not talking about the culture, but we're talking about the process of the government, how the government promote the jurisdictions above all else. So as the democratic country, we can provide the geographical boundary, but we are more or less of that, because as we as discover, or as what we as testament, or sa atong nakita karon, or as we what we as witness. So as atong nakita karon sa West Philippine Sea, the West Philippine Sea is the part of the Philippines. So right now, the Philippine marine traders they're overaching about the rules of the West Philippine Sea, because the government cannot control it. So that problem, we can engage it into the regional forum, so that we can foster our what we call problems, our needs in our country, so that we can expand our economic growth, not only here in the local settings, but also in the international settings across the globe. So by engaging these 3 questions, my only question for myself is that why the government in the Philippines should promote their personal, what they call this one, personal growth, or their personal interests, but they are not promoting the countries as we see right now, because our country is belong to the most corrupt country in the world. As I repeat, most poorest country in the world according to the Okta research, and it is proved by the dictionary of the Oxford, the handbook dictionary of the Oxford, the chapter 2. It explains there that the country is only not the country of the Southeast Asia, so that therefore we are included in that, because we are belong of that, what we call this one, we are belong to the South, so we are included them. We are the most corrupt country, and the most, what will this one, marginalized, no? We are most, kita ang naobsan. So I myself, I will leave this question, why we should not make any decisions with regards to the problem. We do not focus on the political settings, because the political settings is only a temporary. We must promote the transparent and good governance, so that not only the people here in the Philippines, but also our kababayan that work in the other country, or what we call this one, the overseas Filipino workers, so that they can also benefit on what we are doing here in the Philippines, because they are also a taxpayer. They are deserve all what the government needs or what the governments do. They are all what you call this one, deserves or what they have received in the in terms of services and in terms of what they call this one, in terms of national and local treatment, so that we can expand our goodness towards another country. And that's, I think that is all. Thank you for listening.